Starseeds of Freedom. I'm Carrington MacDuffie, and I'm really happy to have with me today my friend Rob Ellen, all the way from Nairn in Scotland. And we're going to be talking to him about an amazing life that he has led as a lover of music and really a fellow who is a wanderer at heart, and how he's made his life work according to his passions. Because you're in a traveling studio and home,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Thank you, Carrington. Lovely to see you. I really hated school.
yeah,
I think that's where it started. A hatred of school.
yeah, yeah. Indoctrination camp, right?
Yeah. I came straight out of school into hippiedom. I've been a wage slave as well. When North Sea Oil opened up in the 80s, there was a rig building yard here. So I managed to escape Margaret Thatcher's depression in Britain. And I got a job up here as a welder, which was like winning the pools. People were getting paid a reasonable wage for doing work here, whereas nobody was during Thatcher's recession. It was all about music, everything all the way from the start. My brother, he had a gig for 45 years in a band called Vanity Fair as their drummer, which they sustained on the back of 3 hits that they had in the early 70s, late 60s. So he was 7 years older than me, and I suppose it could well just be jealousy of my brother and his free lifestyle. That I'd spent my decadent 20s in Bath in the West Country.
Right.
And we had Bristol right on the doorstep, and all the festivals and all the other stuff, free festivals that were sprouting up all over the place. And I missed the music when I got to the Highlands.
Oh,
So
yeah, because the scene around Bristol, and into the 90s, later that turned
yeah,
into a really big deal.
being in the Highlands, there wasn't a lot of live music happening here that wasn't local.
Right.
We had and in those days, there was a big obstacle between here and the rest of Scotland, and that was the Cairngorm mountain range, and nothing really happened. It wasn't on the tour circuit. The sporting teams were all Highland, so we still had a Highland identity at that time, and that was the one thing I missed.
So part of your path was to bring that up into
Yeah,
Scotland.
yeah, certainly. The record shop it was a dream, and it kept me in touch with new releases and all the other stuff. But as soon as the big companies caught wind that they should have opened a shop in Inverness, that kiboshed that as an idea. But by that time, I'd built up a mailing list, and I'd started putting on a few bands as a promoter and got a name as the go-to guy in the Highlands if any bands wanted to play up here. And there was a corporate sponsor. There was a brewery who wanted to support grassroots music. I got that contract. So I got a couple of grand a month, and I created beer every gig to set up tours, and became very popular. I was putting on warm-up tours for a lot of big bands at that time. So that's how I got into music, and that's probably where I got the bug for traveling as well.
Right. So you really created your own life. And I think this is something that our listeners will be interested in, because a lot of us really don't want to live inside the box. We want to create our own lives. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. But you were able to, well, you followed your passion.
I'd put myself in a position that was useful within the music industry. It was opportunity after opportunity, and it was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed it.
Yeah.
I was put in a position of encouraging other people in their creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that that fitted my personal way of doing things. So all of a sudden I realized that I had a purpose.
Right.
And that freed me.
Right. Yes.
Massively.
Yes. Well, and
it gave me confidence as well, because I had no confidence. I was 30 years old. 20s were a shit fight.
Right.
Emotionally and every way. emotionally,
Yeah.
every way, and
Yeah.
financially, the whole thing. But I knew that at the back of it, I had a purpose, and I seemed to be pretty good at it. Come pretty naturally. It was, I could withstand a hangover for months, so I was in the right trade.
Well, I think that we're programmed to not be, or they attempt to program us to not be in touch with our creativity and to doubt our ability to contribute in a creative way. And there's so
I
many.
agree.
Being creative doesn't necessarily mean being an artist. I mean,
Yeah,
any kind of business takes creativity, any kind of endeavor. And so to discover that yourself,
yeah,
that's a real accomplishment. And then to make a life that was obviously never about money, it was about the pleasure of it and the joy of it. And, because music itself, as we know, that's the energy of life.
yeah.
And being able to bring that forward. So it's just a wonderful thing. You have your traveling, your caravan, right? That you're in, where you're speaking to me from now.
I I have two camper vans. This one is obviously in Europe. So I got known for keeping a tour open in the Highlands for traditional American music and bluegrass, old timey. It
Yeah, the
became a
roots.
pilgrimage to a lot of roots musicians to
Yeah.
actually come to the Highlands because so much of the music came from here in the first place. So I got a name for
Yes.
that as well.
To travel around like that and have what you need in a very small, in a compact setup and still put on a great show. There's something, that term trooper, people often think means is a soldier, but it's actually a trooper from the old, performing troops from, I think, medieval Europe, I want to say.
I
So it
like
takes,
that.
yeah, it's Trouper. And because it takes you have to be tough to do this.
The secret for me to keep it live, keep it real, is it's got to be for other people's benefit. Can't be for my benefit.
Yeah.
It's got to be a community thing whereby you're adding something to the community.
A life on the road is not easy.
It's I don't know, just it's not hard for me. It can be when a gearbox drops out of the van and on a French motorway,
Mm-hmm.
or you know,
Yeah.
touch wood. I've got a van that really is. We've got two actually. I mean, the American moose has been up and down the States. We came and visited you in Austin, and we
That's
did a
right.
show at Threadgills,
That's
which
right.
was one of the last shows ever. As soon as the live streaming thing happened, the umbilical was cut. I could go anywhere and broadcast at any time. You know how it is traveling like this. You make friends for life.
Yeah, you do. You make
I know I
friends.
can
That's
go.
one of the best
Yeah,
parts of it.
I know I can go back to so many places and they'll remember the good experience that had come through. And in that regard, that's how I got all the way around America twice. On
Yeah.
the basis of Americans are great at saying this. When I meet them here, they'll say, well, if you're ever in our neighborhood, come and visit. So
Right.
I did. So we live off the milk of human kindness. That's
Yes.
and
Right.
hospitality. If it
Yes.
wasn't for that, and that's what's affirming, really affirming about the way that I live. I know that I'd be lying starving in a lay-by somewhere if it wasn't for the milk of human kindness. And every day of my life is like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and I think, well, I wonder who we'll meet today, and something happens that way. My life is providential, and I realized that early. I got invited down to Thessalonica in Greece to talk on a panel about the advantages of organizing your own career in music, because I'd started a community to encourage house concerts, the European House Concert Hub, and that was going well. Rather than just getting in touch with the Arts Council and filling out a form and saying, well, we should go and do this. It's a good thing. Give us some money for a hotel and I'll fly it in. I thought, if I'm going to talk the talk, I'll walk the walk. So I had a word with everybody around about me, and they did some fundraising events, and everybody managed to get enough money out of that to get me a van. So that was
Right.
it. I had to go. I was driven into
Okay.
Florence. It's 3 a.m. Had a look at Michelangelo's statues. I mean, the whole place was just art. There was a thunderstorm going above the cathedral. So we're getting all of nature. Pulled the van up there. The police were wandering around. We had a chat with them. Said, "No, you're fine now." And at that point, it was like, "No, this is what I want to do." We just sat and played music and sat on the river with it. Played music at 3 o'clock. The locals were coming by, and there were still folks around. And it was like, "Well, this is what I want to do."
Yeah.
So I, I ended up doing it.
Well, how can people contact you if they want to find out about your services or find out what about your shows on Facebook, what you're broadcasting? How do people find you?
There's a website. It's medicinemusic.me. Full information on what I'm doing there. The van is called the Moose Mobile, and Moose in native culture is about joy. It's when the moose bellows, the humans in the forest, the humans' hearts filled with joy. So that I adopted that as our totem, and medicine comes from that as well. Apart from the fact of the medicine shows in the Wild West,
Yeah.
where snake oil salesman trying to earn a buck.
Yes.
So the medicine and music's what binds us all together, and it's really our best hope in a disenfranchised world.
Yes, and I think you're right about the milk of human kindness. That's the future.
Yeah,
That's where we're going. We're breaking through this insanity, but that's where we're really going. And I think music, it's been misused a lot. Music has been misused
yeah,
for nefarious purposes, but the real music, that's what carries us.
yeah.
That's what carries us into our real selves.
Live, love, dance, sing, and laugh. There's nothing more freeing than that. The people that see themselves as in control of our situation don't understand that.
No, they don't. That's because they don't have any power of their own. Control and power are two different things.
Yeah.
So they may have control in a lot of situations, but there are some things they can never control, and they don't have that creative energy of their own. And so they have to.
Yeah, it dissipates all the mechanisms that they use, like fear and fear.
Yes, there you go.
That's it.
That's it. And joy dissipates fear. That's right. And leads us to freedom.
People like yourself, the troubadours, it being the oldest tradition, the oldest employment, that other one just came along in the back of it.
Yeah.
Way back, the troubadours were the ones when humans decided that they would settle in one place. There was people like you and me that didn't want to stop in one place. So they became the lore wardens. They were entrusted and they were revered because they had the experience of traveling between places and taking the lore, very human lore, from place to place.
Right.
So they became the medicine men. They became the ones that people understood through their experience, their own humanity. That's why it's important. So this comes from a Sioux chief called Luther Standing Bear. I'm going to venture that the man who sat on the ground in his teepee, meditating on life and its meaning, accepting the kinship of all creatures and acknowledging unity with the universe of things, was infusing into his being the true essence of civilization. That's where we should be. That came to me today while I was watching redshank and geese landing on my hometown harbour. People say that the system's knackered. The system needs revamping. The system needs some work put on it. The system isn't. The system is working as it's designed to work. And it doesn't need revamping. It needs dismantling.
Exactly. It needs to be dismantled.
Come down to the...
And I think as that, starts to, dismantle, as you say, then we can get
Yeah.
down to the real business of living.
Yeah, well, started. I think the revolution started already. I think
Yes.
that's.
Yes, we're in it.
I think it's in full force, and that all because and it's all in human interaction. We're all connected, and the universe is unfolding the way it should do.
Yeah.
We just got to encourage it to unfold
right.
in a very positive manner,
Yes.
and that comes from aligning yourself with your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So thanks for being with us today on Starseeds of Freedom.
Thank you.
Burning up the road for that radio.